Return to the probation department and you did not return. Do you understand that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
April 4th, charge in Painesville Municipal Court with possession of drug paraphernalia, obstructing official business. You understand that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Nicholson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, at this time, my client is going to admit to the violations and waive his right to a hearing. Your Honor, would like to be heard in mitigation.
All right, is that what you want to do, Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, what is your plea to those allegations?
Guilty.
All right, I'll accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. All right, Mr. Nicholson.
Your Honor, thank you. Mr. Reynolds is 28 years of age, Your Honor. Your Honor, he's not a stranger to this honorable court, as I believe this is his third violation. He's still a young man. While he's young, he's not that young. He's still an adult as well. But Your Honor, I believe my client does suffer from some mental health and substance abuse issues. The court is aware of this. The court has given him a chance, and the court has given him, has bent over backwards, quite frankly, for Mr. Reynolds. I spoke with Mr. Reynolds when I received this case, and at the first juncture that I spoke with Mr. Reynolds, he was not all in. He was still going back and forth, telling me what he wanted to do, not trying to listen to the medical professional. So I hung up the phone on Mr. Reynolds because I determined he wasn't ready yet. So I said I would talk to him on the day of court. Got a correspondence from the probation office, giving me his position as well. So I had a really good conversation with Mr. Reynolds this morning, and to my knowledge, he spoke with our social worker as well. Once he spoke with us at length, he has determined that he has hit his rock bottom. And at this point, if he does not all in, he's either going to be dead on the front page of the newspaper or in the obituaries, somewhere in the middle, or he's going to be right back in front of you, and he's going to be doing prison. I believe he's at a significant crossroad in his life because I don't think he's completely lost yet. Like I said, he's 28 years old, and right now I can see he's taking responsibility. He wants to get better. And he's been through a lot of, I'm not making excuses for him, but he's been through a lot of pain. Lost both of his parents. He's been doing, he's 28 years old, been doing drugs since he was a juvenile. Those aren't excuses, but those are things that contribute to drug addiction. After speaking with the probation officer, I've been notified that there are inpatient treatment options available. In addition to that, I believe he is in mental health court with Judge Trevitz in Mentor Municipal Court, who runs the mental health court. So he's at a crossroads right now. It's either get better, work on yourself, or go to prison. I've told him that there are tens and if not hundreds of people in this jail that want treatment. So either he can go to prison and not waste resources or waste our time, or he can be all in, do it all, do the treatment. I told him, look, if they tell you to go to Iraq, you got to go for treatment. He's all in. He wants to do treatment. So, Your Honor, at this time, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that if there's a position from the probation officer that there is treatment available. I would ask the court to consider that option, send him to strict inpatient treatment, and give him one more chance to show the court that he's all in. And if he does not, then obviously, well, first of all, we obviously respect any decision that this court makes because the court has given him chances in the past. So we respect any ruling today. However, we would ask the court to strongly consider treatment, whatever the recommendations for treatment are from the treatment professionals and the professionals of probation office. We'd ask the court to consider those. We would agree to them. We would stipulate to them. Just want to get this young man some help, the help that he needs. He was not all in when this court sentenced him first, but I believe he's all in. He's hit his rock bottom. He's tired of doing drugs, and he knows that with the ingredients in the drugs these days, that next high could be his last. So, Your Honor, we ask the court to take all that in consideration upon imposition of his sentence. And if the court does deem that prison is appropriate, ask the court to give him credit for time served, or not credit for time served, but credit for the days that he served in jail. Thank you.
All right, what do you want to tell me?
Stand up.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, first and foremost. This is another slip up on my end. Yeah, this is, I would say that this is the longest I've ever been sober, and it's the most clear-minded I've ever been since I've been 12 years old. I've been using drugs since I've been 12. I've had a lot of trauma, a lot of heartache, you know. The day I went to jail, my dog died. My 16-year-old dog died, you know, for trespassing. I lost my mom. I was in rehab. I lost my dad 2 days before Christmas. You know, these are all things that contribute to my mental health being as bad as it is now. My mental health has been worse, you know, in these past couple of years than it's ever been. I've got PTSD. I've got serious mental depression, and it contributes to me using. It does. I've tried drug treatment in the past. It's helped me. And like I said, this is the longest I've ever been clean. It's the longest I've ever been doing good in the past 10 years or so. That's all I have to say.
Cindy, when did Jan try to see him?
I would say we were last here on April 9th, so it was probably the following week. She didn't send me a letter, I don't believe.
Okay. So why wouldn't you talk to the lady from NeoCap?
I wanted to talk to the courts first. I wanted to go to court first. It wasn't. She didn't say that it was court mandated or anything like that. So I wanted to be open minded about other options that were possibly available.
You told her you didn't want to go to NeoCap. You just wanted to go to prison, right?
Instead of NeoCap, I've never heard anything good about NeoCap. So
From who?
from anybody that's been there, my brother and people that have been there in the past, he said he'd rather do prison than NeoCap. So I was taking his advice into consideration because I don't necessarily make good decisions myself. I don't know what I was getting into with something like that.
Why are you taking the advice of somebody who's in jail?
Well, my brother he's on the outside now, but you know, from people that have been in similar situations that I've been in, you know, they found themselves in the same situation after going to NeoCap, and I took their advice and I considered that more
What
so
about
than
the people that found themselves in a different position after going to NeoCap? Did you talk to them?
never seen them, never crossed paths with them.
Maybe the problem is not, maybe the problem is who you're crossing paths with, and maybe another problem is who you're not crossing paths with, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So nobody in that goddamn jail knows a thing about what they're talking about. Not a one of them. And so if somebody comes to see you to offer you an opportunity and you tell her, no, I just want to go to prison. Because that surely will make you better and improve you going to prison. You like that meth, huh?
I mean, any kind of substance, you know, that helps take away, you know, my thinking and my anything that takes me away from being who I am, where I feel like I'm not the person that I am, you know, something that makes me feel different. You know, my mom went through the same thing that I'm going through now, and I didn't understand her situation before when she was smoking crack and everything else. When my dad and I were sober, or I was just smoking weed or whatever it may have been. You know, I didn't understand her situation until now. I find myself in a situation that's just as bad or worse than hers, and I understand now why she didn't want to be herself. You know, and the things that she was seeing, the things that she's crossing paths with are different than other people are crossing paths with. I'm not crossing paths with the same people and things that ordinary people are. I'm going through a thing that's like, you know, he's like where he brought up like coming to Jesus moment, and that's the truth. These people and things that talk to me, they're talking about things that are like out of this world, outlandish. You know, and it's like I get to a point where normal living isn't normal living to me anymore. I can't go to a place that seemingly works for other people, and it works for me. It just doesn't. It's the people and things I'm crossing paths with.
How do you know it doesn't work for you?
I've tried it.
How do you know something you haven't done won't work for you?
Well, I can't say definitively, but but I have.
No, you can't say, you can't even begin to guess. Well, you can't. You can say it won't work for you if you don't want it to work for you. And if you go and stare at the wall, then it won't work for you. So you can predict your future in that regard. Where are you going for your mental health treatment?
Signature Health.
Who are you going to?
Julie Shandell.
Who is she?
She's a doctor at Signature Health.
Is she a psychiatrist?
I believe so, yeah.
Who prescribes your medication?
Right now, while I'm in jail, Crossroads does.
Who did its signature?
Julie Shandell.
What did she prescribe?
It started off with, I can't think of that, Seroquel. It started off with Seroquel, olanzapine, Remron at one point. I can't think of what else off the top of my head. But we've cycled Lexapro, I've been on Lexapro, been on Effexor. The most recent changes seem to be helping a little bit more than the past.
How long have you been going to her?
Sorry?
How long have you been going to her?
About 8 months, 9 months.
Okay. What do you know about this, Miss Henley?
Joe's neglecting to mention the most recent medication, which is Risperdal. He was taking 3 milligrams of that medication as well as antidepressant. Was working full time, had a car, things were going well. So it's when he stopped taking those and made the decision.
Why did you stop taking the medication?
I guess to feel different again. I start feeling.
What does that mean? How were you feeling when you were taking it?
Well, I guess I became complacent. I guess I started doing good. I started to tear down everything that I worked for, and I started to rebuild and redo everything. It sounds insane in a way, but I started to tear down everything I worked for, and I rebuild all over again. And then I keep doing it. I keep going through the cycle. Even when I'm being successful, I go in this madness in my mind all day long while I'm at work. It's hard for me to get up and go to work every day, but I still do it anyways. I'm going through this mental health I'm going through. It's like I hear the voices, this, that, whatever. I'm not trying to make excuses, but it's like I go through this madness where I have to break down everything I'm working for and then redo everything all over again. So the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I sit there and I just stare and I contemplate, how am I going to do this today? And at some point I want to feel different. I can't. It's going to work it'll work, but I don't know for how long.
So, who else do you see at Signature?
I see Olivia Farmer. She's my case manager. I just got set up with psychiatry for therapy.
You haven't gone to therapy yet?
No, I had
Why
one.
not?
I had one appointment scheduled, and I'd rescheduled it. Like I said, I was going through the cycle again. I had rescheduled my appointment, and then it was for a little bit farther out than I expected because I had missed her. I had to schedule it around my work days because I'd get off work around 5 o'clock. And so I try to schedule it for 5 o'clock in the afternoons, and there's only so many slots available, So that's why I had missed it. It was pretty far out, and then just right around the same time this all happened. But I was going to try and do therapy and see how that would help me. Just maybe talking to somebody and alleviating some of the stress and things on my shoulders.
Your Honor, he was doing intensive outpatient programming and aftercare prior to going to the counseling. So he has been in services. There was just a small gap in between aftercare and counseling.
So, did you have a discussion with your counselor about why things go well and you try to tear it down and start all over again?
I didn't really bring that up too much. When I was in IOP, I was kind of the quiet one. I was kind of listening to other people's stories and trying to see how that relates to me and if they're in a similar situation I'm in before I spoke out and started speaking about things. And a lot of theirs seems to be mostly, and I was in a drug treatment class. It seems most of theirs seems to be kind of like drug related. It seems to be stemming from the drugs a lot of times. That's where the problems, things are coming from a lot of times. Me, it has to do a lot more with my mental health.
All right, so tell me where the meth, where the meth comes from.
My mom, she got me started using it.
Okay. And
We started using it together.
and what does that do for you?
It helps numb me. I feel numb. I just feel like I'm not me as much. I just feel like a different person.
What does that get you?
Well, I start
Besides
writing.
in jail, what does that get you?
I start writing, I start drawing, I start working on things. I kind of like separate myself from like the real world. I separate myself from the real world, and I kind of see like how people and things react around me, like how they treat me, you know. And even my own girlfriend, she said I was like smeagling. I was doing all these things that I wasn't even doing. I would just be sitting there writing down on my paperwork, and she would say I'm doing all these things to like bother her. I'm doing all these things that are like outlandish. They're like out of this world. Like I never said half the things I said to her. I never did half the things I did to her. And I know I didn't, because I've
How
been through
do
this.
you know that?
Because I've been through this for so many years. I've been
Okay.
through it for so many years. I don't
Does-
see it all of a
does
sudden
the-
one day, all of a sudden it's just going to change like that.
Does the meth, does it have a positive effect or a negative effect on you?
There's some pros, but there's a lot of cons.
What are the pros?
I mentioned, you know, being separating myself and like, seeing how people treat me.
Why do you want to separate yourself from yourself?
Because I don't like being myself. I don't like this body that I am. I don't like being this person that I am. I want to be something different. You know.
What do you want to be?
Somebody that feels good every day. Somebody that enjoys their job, enjoys going to work, enjoys
What
living.
job were you doing?
I was working at MWD. It's like a warehouse. It was just driving a forklift. It wasn't bad. When I first started there, I really enjoyed it. You know, I was doing something that I actually enjoyed doing. I was just moving stuff around. But at the end of the day, you know, I felt like I felt like I was doing good. I was making money. I was help support my girlfriend. We were going out and going to eat. We were doing things that normal people do. You know.
Is some reason you didn't like that?
No, I did like it. I still like it. I don't know. I guess, and so out of all the madness, of all the things that I'm doing, there's also room for influence, like, you know, for things to take a grip in my life and, you know, take me by surprise in a way. You know, I thought I had it together for the most part. You know, I finished IOP. I completed IOP, which I didn't think I was going to do. You know, at first, when I first started doing this, I just thought I'd get to a certain point, I could just start using it again. I would just say, forget everything. But I completed IOP. This has been the longest stint that I've ever done. You know, the longest time that I've ever been successful. You know, it's really been a big difference in my life.
How long have you been in jail now?
36 days.
Is your thought process better now than it was 36 days ago?
Yeah, I could tell just by speaking to you how I'm able to communicate a little bit better that it is
Okay,
better.
why is it better now than it was 36 days ago?
Because I was taking options and doing things just without thinking. I would just say, yeah, I'll do that, or yeah, I'll do that, instead of thinking about it more, and then instead of considering the options and things that are available to me.
Like what? What do you mean?
Like, for instance, with the NeoCap and, you know, Lake Jog, if NeoCap showed up, I was always a yes man. I would just say, yeah, whatever, you know. But when they showed up, I actually second guessed what, you know, treatment is for me and what's going to help me and what's not going to help me. And even against other people's intuition and because like I said, these are normal people are going through something totally different that I'm going through. And when they brought that up to me, I'm like, you know, me and my brother are kind of alike. My brother holds it together, though. He somehow manages to support his family, and he goes to work every day. He does everything that like my dad wanted from us. You know, that's to hold a family together. You know, he does everything that I'm trying to do, but he doesn't suffer the mental health issues that I suffer. You know, the way that my mom suffered. You know, the drugs and the mental health issues. So I try to relate the two, and I take his advice. He said, I'd rather do prison time than NeoCap. And, you know, honestly, that's one person I look up to. And I don't really have anybody else to look up to.
What do you think the absence of meth in the last 36 days, what effect has that had on you?
I don't really know because I'm in jail. I can't really be on the outside, like where I had to just regiment, where I meet with people and I do these things over and over again and seeing the differences that are happening around me. You know, people say I'm doing one thing and I'm doing another, or they say I'm saying one thing and I'm saying another. So I try to like meet with these people. I try to do these things over and over again in order to maintain like some sanity, because I feel like I've lost my sanity in some ways. So I do things over and over again.
You told me 20 minutes ago this is the clearest you've thought
Yeah, that's
in a
right.
long time.
Yes, Your Honor.
But what you're telling me now is that that's not the case. That people are telling you things that,
Well, that's
sorry.
Finish.
Go ahead.
that does raise a point that's important to me. Is I feel like I'm doing better sometimes. When I feel like I'm doing better and I'm seemingly doing better, a lot of times people will tell me that I'm not doing these things. I'm acting a certain kind of way. Like the people that are around me all the time, the people that I'm spending my time with, they make it. They act a certain kind of way. They portray a certain kind of way. But it's like I'm interested in what they're writing down, what they're saying about me, more so than like what's actually happening. You know what I mean?
Why?
Because I want to know what it's like from them looking from the outside looking in. Rather than just me looking from the
You're
inside out.
concerned about what they perceive you as, or what they think
yes, Your
about
Honor.
you? Why do you care about that?
Because I want to know if I'm living in the same reality that they're living in. I question my reality. I question what's happening to me, oftentimes.
Yeah.
And how it helps to kind of like clear my thoughts and it helped me just get to like a blank slate. Is the methamphetamines. I get to like a blank slate and I'm just like blank, just like a zero. It allows me to kind of build off of that.
That and eat your brain away. That's what it does. What's in methamphetamine?
I don't know. I can't say for everybody, but there's oftentimes Sudafed in it. That's one of the things that helps you from getting sick. You don't really get many. You don't really.
Is this where are you getting this stuff from?
It's from a person my mom connected me with, from a long time ago, and I trusted my mom's instincts because she knew like everybody when it came. She knew just about everybody, and so like I trusted her more so than just like anybody off the street. I've always went to the same person, always the same people.
So who are you getting it from?
Well, I don't want to say exactly who I got it from in the past.
See, I want to know exactly who you're getting it from.
Well, I've got, when I came here originally the first time, when I was pretty bad off, I got it from Dustin. And, that's on him in a way, saw me certain things that ain't necessarily the best, but that's my problem, that's my fault.
Where's Dustin getting it from?
Probably from Cleveland, probably from the land.
Where are they getting it from?
It's either somebody that's making it out of a bucket and whatever, or maybe my neighbor.
Does it taste like Drano at all when you're having it?
No,
No.
no.
You know what's in meth that people make?
What?
Drano.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I trust what my mom, has hooked me up with, and I've always just kind of went with that. I don't really like go out of bounds too much. The people that I meet, like I said.
Do you talk to the psychiatrist about using meth while you're taking your mental health meds?
I kind of like left that part out a lot of times. I was
Why?
too nervous.
Don't you think that's important?
I didn't know how that was going to affect, things with. I mean, I told my psychiatrist. I told Julie Shindell. I mentioned it to her and whatnot, but in therapy, I've never really had a chance.
What are you going to therapy for?
For my mental health and for.
I know that, but what is it? What is it you're trying to uncover, get past, deal with? What is that?
It's somebody I'd like to be able to speak to about trauma. Speak to about how do I go about like moving forward in life. How do I maintain my sanity? And somebody that I can.
What's the trauma?
Losing my family.
What specifically?
My dad, he died 2 days before Christmas. I had to watch him while I was in the hospital. I watched my father deteriorate because he had cancer.
Okay. How long ago was that?
2018, 12/23/18.
What's your mental health diagnosis?
Schizophrenia, manic depressive disorder, bipolar or something.
Okay.
And then
How long have you been diagnosed with those things?
When I was like 6-7 years old, I got diagnosed with ADHD and depression and a couple other things.
So this predates your father's passing, right?
Yeah, it has amplified things for me when I lost him.
That generally happens.
Yeah.
Okay. So the question is how you deal with that, right?
How I move forward, not having somebody to
Right.
to work and do things things, and that has that to show forth, as like a way of.
So it sounds like you want to figure out how to deal with it, how to move forward, and at the same time, it sounds like you don't want to deal with it, you just want to become somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Okay? It can't be both ways. It's impossible to be both ways. So the question is, which way are you going to take? Is this the third time you've had a violation here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So that's not working very well, right?
It's working better than it's working better than I've ever had in the past. I'd say that much. Like I said, since I've been 12 years, since I was 12 years old, I've been using.
All right, Mr. Nicholson, what am I supposed to do with this guy?
Your Honor, I think through the exchange that you just had with Mr. Reynolds, let me sum it up for you.
I just need to know what to do with it.
It ain't working.
Because despite the fact that Mr. Reynolds thinks that he's doing as well as he's done since he was 12 years old, he ain't, or he wouldn't be here for the third time around. So he's listening to the idiot brigade in the jail who are telling him not to go somewhere that may be good for him. Is there somewhere else he could go that you're aware of?
Your Honor, I've been notified of NeoCap.
You don't want to go.
I know. I've been notified of them, Lake Geauga, and excuse me for pulling out my phone, Your Honor. I have an email from our social worker in our public defender's office as early as 10:40 this morning, right before I came over to this honorable court for this hearing. There was a submission of an application to the Everett Clinic, the CH Everett Clinic. It's a mental health residential treatment through Signature Health for adults, and it's located in Mentor. The typical length is 30 to 90 days. When a referral is completed and staff determine eligibility, they meet with the client in person to determine the next steps for admissions or treatment. So, Your Honor, at this point, look.
Well, what's the timeline on something like that?
Well, my understanding is that his application is under review. So they have to, I would say at least 30 days, at least. So because they got to review his application, they got to.
I mean, it shouldn't take a whole lot to review since he's one of their patients, right?
Right. But I would say at least 30 because they got to come here, they got to talk. He doesn't have the access to them that he would have had he been out. So they got to come in here, they got to visit him, they got to talk to him, they got to take that information, take it back to an assessment, and then determine eligibility and all that.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come back here on the 29th of May, continue this hearing until the 29th of May at 11:30. And if you get word from this place in advance of that, then we can come in earlier, but I'm at a loss to what to do with him,
I understand, Judge.
other than send him to prison for 18 months, which I guess in that case, you can get all the meth you want sitting in prison. So the question is whether you want to figure out what it takes to get better or whether you want to keep being better for short periods of time and going back to jail. So 29th at 11:30 at this point.
Yes, Your Honor. Formerly in court, it was represented to the court that Mr. Reynolds did want to engage in treatment. I had indicated to the court that our social worker, Erin Meyer, was in talks with the facility. She has gotten a bed ready for him. There's been an email sent as just recent as yesterday. He can be admitted on Thursday, May 30th. So he can be taken to the facility. May I approach you?
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah, okay.
From.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So, Your Honor, it looks as if the CH Everett Clinic has a bed available for Mr. Reynolds. to engage in not only just drug treatment, mental health treatment as well. It has been, I spoke with Mr. Reynolds. He's of sound mind. He looks good. He's sober. He's clear-headed. And he again told me, I want treatment. I asked him, what do you want? Are we going to prison today? Am I going to just tell the judge to send you to prison? Or do you want to go to treatment? He said treatment. So I'm asking this court respectfully if it would consider the recommendations, the bed available at the Everett Center, and I'd ask this honorable court to allow Mr. Reynolds to engage in treatment. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Reynolds, anything you want to tell me?
You summed it up pretty good, Your Honor. I'm not a criminal. I'm not a career criminal. It doesn't work for me. I always end up back in jail. It's not something I want to do. I just want to get back to work. I worked full time when I was out there last time. I was working a steady job full time. I can maintain a job. I can work, and I should be working, and not be sitting in the jail cell. You know, I guess I want to go to treatment, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor,
Yep.
if you're considering the Everett House, it does look like admission would be 2:30 p.m.
Okay. All right, I'm going to continue on community control. I'm going to extend it to November 21 of 26. You're going to serve 30 days in the Lake County Jail with credit for 29. You'll be released to the custody of a representative of the Public Defender's Office to transport directly to C.H. Everett Clinic. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. you'll be released and taken right there. You're to complete that program and comply with all their conditions, follow their recommendations. And the other terms that I had in place going back to October of 23 remain in effect, with the exception of the Willoughby Group Home. So it appears that your problem is you get off your mental health medications and you start with I think in this case it was meth, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So you got to figure out a way to stop that. You're going to continue in the mental health court in Mentor Municipal. Continue with that program. Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else, Ms. Henley?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Nicholson?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, we're adjourned.